Flip camera.
How nice.
Remember my first video camera was huge.
I had that VHS thing.
AM 1450 WCEV Radio, where Chicagoland's ethnic voice and the voice of the youths. That's Destiny's Child. I think that's the second version of Destiny's Child. You might recognize Beyonce's voice. Now she's a big solo act. Whatever happened to the rest of Destiny's Child? What are they doing?
I don't know. Her sister still sings.
Solange?
Yeah.
Didn't she marry like a football guy when she was like 12 years old?
Wow.
No.
She was 19.
She was young though.
Yes, she was.
She should have wrote poetry first.
See what it's done for us.
It's alright. All of those voices are voices of the group, the Amaryllis Book Club. That is from representing the BVM school over on North Avenue. Marisel Melendez is here. She's like the big mentor, emotional person in the room. And then all the young people, all the youths. And even though, you know, those are not calling 777-1450, apparently you guys are getting text messages and stuff supporting moms and dads and listening. I mean, yeah. Call abuela.
Stephanie is one of our new members. So, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, I'm Stephanie, and I joined book club because one day in class I just seen the kids that were in book club. They're all so happy, and like they're so happy. Maybe I should join this book club. So I joined book club, and it was really fun. And I think other kids should join book club because if they are having a bad day, they should go and just write and tell their feelings to the kids that are there, because it's really a good book club.
So let me ask you this: do you prefer the reading of the books that are recommended, or do you prefer writing, putting your own words on paper?
I prefer writing and putting my own words on paper.
Is that kind of the majority? That everybody prefers to do the writing? I mean, the reading is nice, but when you get to write and other people get to read your stuff, is that what's the most impactful thing?
Well, you know, the writing is a big part of it, but also is that we don't only concentrate like on writing. You know, it's like I tell them, you know, we write because we want to, not because we have to, and then we read the books that we select and come to a conclusion. Yeah, let's read this one, and also I bring in magazines, local magazines.
J14.
And we also talk about topics that are everyday topics, or what we're going to do on the weekend, or what do we do during the week. So it's not only.
I think the writing and the reading the books have a lot to do with each other, because after we read the book, we get inspired and motivated to write about how the real life, because we read real life situation books, so we get inspired and motivated to write more poetry based on how that book, how the book inspired us.
So if I was going to ask you to recommend a book, for instance, for young people that might be listening, what's the first title that comes to mind? Twilight?
I would say Upstate or Freedom Riders.
Okay. Freedom Riders, and you mean as in the movie?
Yeah, the book.
Well, remember it?
We read
because
the
that was
book.
a teacher that also inspired students.
That was our
Yes.
first one.
And,
the first one.
and it was funny because every student in that class, they all had like a role, like the Spice Girls. Every person in that class had a particular role within the group, which is interesting. And we could probably go through everybody here and find out what the roles are. But at 10:41, you guys need to share some of what you've put on page, because if not, how are we going to know about going on the Facebook and maybe subscribing to the book and maybe paying a $10 donation for the book?
Yeah, Stephanie will read one of the pieces from the book.
And this piece is called Cold.
This will be like being in the cafe back in the 60s and everybody's got candles and sunglasses. They snap their fingers after you're done.
It's cold in here, all alone, no one to hold me. Shivering in fear, my tears turn to ice. I wonder, does anybody love me? My blood is cold, my eyes are turning black. I can no longer hear good, I only hear bad. I'm cold and I want to be warm. I look at the mirror, I see hate in my eyes. Look at me, I'm turning cold. I fear of turning dark. Cold forever. Save me from this nightmare. A voice from those who can't speak.
Now, is this something that you wrote, or was this one of your buddies who had written that?
It's one of the selections from the book.
Now, you know, at the risk of repeating something that was said earlier, kind of like a dark piece. I mean, if you interpret that, it almost sounds like a 6 Feet Under type of thing.
Yeah, That's pretty deep, and that's why I tell them. I said, you know, whatever you want me to type up for you, just bring it in, and this is the pieces. So as you just heard this one piece, now you know how I felt. I said I need to get this out there for other people to read and other use.
And this is a collection where there's a group of 12 or 15 girls who have put together some of these stories and poems. We're hearing them right now, and some of this stuff you'll be able to YouTube. Other stuff you'll see on wakeupdancing.com later on. If you want to participate, 773-777-1450. Another selection from the person who's standing, Queen of Domoland.
Domo, can I give a shout out real quick?
To Domo?
No, to my cousins for listening.
That's fine. That's cool that they checked in with you.
I want to give a shout out to my cousin Angela and my cousin Katerina. Thank you guys. I love you so much for supporting me.
So now you're about to make them cry with your emotional words, aren't you?
Yeah, you guys are crying over there. Okay, I'm also going to read a selection. This is actually one of my own pieces. So it's called Braces. Smile. No. Smile. Why? Because it makes me happy. Because you are still beautiful. She does. They shine. She smiles. She glows in her new braces.
Nice.
So you didn't put upon them that there are so many words that you have to write, or it has to last oh so long. It's just write until you're done writing.
No rules at all. No rules. Just write. Turn it in. Put it in the binder. Type it up.
And this is not a part of the regular curriculum, so they're not graded or anything on this, right?
No.
Does that help you guys to know that you can write something free form, not only see it published, but also you're not going to get judged with a letter grade or a number grade?
It does, because in school everybody's judged and graded, and when we go on Thursdays, we're not judged. We can speak freely. When we write, everything's coming from the soul, or everything is like what we experience. It's not like it's not fake.
When you guys travel as a group, because I have a feeling that you guys do this a lot, traveling as a group, talking about judging, when somebody sees this group of a half dozen girls who are about to do whatever, what do you think the impression is before people meet you, and then how does it change after they've met you?
I think they might just think, oh, this is just some group, this is just a book club, that it's nothing, but that's what it might appear to be on the outside, but on the inside it's so much more. It helps all of us. So in that before phase, when they just see us, we might just appear to be something that isn't all that different from anyone else, but when they hear our work, or when they really get to know us, they know that this is something a lot bigger than that, something that is a lot something more special to us than just a book club.
Kind of almost sounds like what the whole Brown Girls thing did. They're defeating stereotypes now when it comes to people that are younger, as opposed to the Brown Girls defeating the stereotypes of the older woman.
Most definitely. With the Brown Girls, we decided to do this dissertation with Yolanda, a group of writers, and we recruited family members, my daughter and my sister, and then what we did was we did this one show, and so far we've done 3 sold-out shows here in Chicago. We did a sold-out show in New York, and now we're heading to LA. So if you believe and dream big, it will happen. I mean, you have to strive, and you have to get out there and motivate everybody else that, yes, they can, yes, we can. And here we are with our first chapbook, and I'm so proud of you.
Now, did you guys, as young people, get to watch Marisel and her buddies perform the Brown Girls Chronicles, or have you not seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yes, they came out. They came out our first year. Yeah.
And what did you guys think of these stories that you may not have been exposed to if not for the Vida Beta ensemble?
Well, when I went, I was just, wow, this is just really good. It was like something different, because I usually don't go out to plays a lot, and it was just like, wow, something new, and the stories were like really touching. The one that stands out most to me was one that was performed by Marisel's daughter, Natalie. She was acting as a 4-year-old child.
That's the one everybody talks about.
Yeah. That one just really stood out to me. That was really touching and really sad.
And he was playing with it just like this. I'll tell you what, we'll take a 60-second break. We'll come back with more readings and anybody who might have a call.